The Sibyl, one of the most recognizable figures of the classical world, is almost always depicted writing her prophecies upon scattered leaves. Modern readers encounter this primarily as a literary image, a symbol for divine speech that resists human preservation. But shifting the analytical frame from mythology to the strict methodology of historical administration reveals a distinct problem. The surviving Greek documentary tradition is thoroughly mapped and understood. We know exactly which materials were used to record institutional information. This stone block shows the standard medium for permanent public epigraphy and state decrees. For day-to-day records, this literary work. The rest of the verified institutional landscape includes clay, wax, wood, and eventually parchment codices. Leaves, as a practical medium, are entirely absent from this verified archaeological record. Now, this presents a historical friction point. A central classical figure records upon a highly specific medium that does not exist within the documentary system of her own era. Absorbing this anomaly into mythology ignores a specific piece of structural evidence. To understand the Sibyl, her leaves must be treated as a potential historical survival of an older, non-Greek administrative framework. Resolving this Greek anomaly requires looking outside the Aegean basin to other ancient documentary traditions. In South Asia, leaves served as a foundational and practical institutional medium for centuries. This image shows the physical reality of a palm leaf manuscript, where the material is tightly bound with cords to maintain administrative order. These bound leaves sustained immense corpora, holding everything from legal and mathematical records to complex religious texts. While often viewed in the West as fragile, leaves constituted a robust institutional pillar in the East. This South Asian system served as a practical writing medium long before it ever became a symbolic literary ornament. This raises a methodological question. How could a South Asian documentary tradition logically connect to the Aegean Bronze Age? The answer requires finding structural evidence hidden directly within surviving Greek bureaucratic archives. The South Asian model demonstrates that leaf-based administration is a fully functional matrix, providing a historical precedent for the specific medium described in the Sibyl's accounts. The earliest surviving Greek administrative system is found in the Mycenaean Linear B archive. This clay tablet illustrates the Mycenaean approach to record-keeping, with syllabic script pressed into rigid accounting rows. A core structural feature of Linear B is that it does not separate religious authority from secular administration. This diagram shows how these two fields operate as adjacent components of a single system. Priestesses, landholders, sanctuary personnel, and grain obligations are all tracked simultaneously within this unified structure. Scribes manage this data using specific morphological forms, such as words ending in niya and niyo. These forms span across occupational, territorial, and cultic environments without distinction. This indicates a deeply integrated institutional vocabulary that refuses to remain confined to a single semantic domain. The Mycenaean archive's fluid blending of authority provides the exact structural environment needed to preserve older, imported institutional systems. A growing body of independent studies has identified direct Sanskrit correspondences hidden within the Linear B corpus. These represent consistent recoveries of coherent occupational titles and deputy classes within the archive. Consider this specific syllogram sequence: po so re ya. Through Sanskrit correspondence, po so re ya maps directly to the form pashu raja. This creates a specific gender tension that mirrors the identity fields documented elsewhere in the archive, such as the form po tenia. This tension is consistent with the non-terminal identity fields observed throughout the broader Mycenaean record. This correspondence repeatedly recovers coherent sovereignty from what previously appeared to be administrative noise. While based on individual artifacts, the convergence of these linguistic patterns suggests that the Aegean administrative system may have inherited and preserved elements of a foreign institutional framework. This brings the physical documentary void together with the linguistic evidence. On one side, the linguistic data shows non-Greek institutional titles. On the other, we have a missing physical medium. These independent observations merge into a single unified theory of transmission. The Sibyl's anomalous writing medium and her ambiguous institutional position belong to the same historical problem. This older tradition was eventually expressed through the Greek language, but it retained material features that were not Greek in origin. Stripping away the literary decoration reveals that the Sibyl preserves a historically accurate memory of a lost documentary tradition. A final piece of modern archaeological nomenclature inadvertently confirms this deep historical connection. Today, when specialists catalog individual Mycenaean clay records, they conventionally refer to them as leaves. The myth of the Sibyl's scattered leaves preserves a precise archival memory, accessible only once the right comparative framework is applied.